This week on A to Z Running, once upon a time, you went for a run with some friends, and that one friend had one of those fancy new watches. They called them GPS watches. Remember that? Remember how silly it was when that friend kept updating everyone on the pace you all were running in real time? Remember how that friend would keep jogging circles at the end of the run to make sure the watch hit a round number? It's possible. It's possible we've gone too far. And that's the question we are going to answer today when we discuss when to ditch that watch.
Welcome back to A to Z Running. My name is Andy.
And I'm Zach. How fast do you think a 16-year-old can run 1 mile? And what if we told you it's one of the fastest indoor mile times of all time, of all ages? And that's only one of the multiple world records we need to discuss today. What a day we have ahead of ourselves. You are going to enjoy every second of it. So I think without further ado, let's go ahead and have some real talk about that running watch to get us started. Our intent right now is to convince you that you should stop wearing a watch while you run. I'm joking. Well,
not always.
No.
But sometimes.
Our intent is to convince you that the running watch is a cause for concern in terms of your training goals at times, and you need to proceed with care and caution. And there's good reason why. And so we're gonna lay it out, and you decide. You decide if our argument is convincing or not, and then we'll decide whether we should publish a book on the topic. So, when do we ditch the watch? Is it now? Is it ASAP? Is it all the time? Is it sometimes? That's the kind of the considerations we'll tease around a little bit. If you're not a purist. And chances are none of you listening are, as far as running watches are concerned, because there's very few runners, I should say, in the world who don't ever wear a watch at any point in time. I wear watches quite a bit, in fact, at the moment, but in general. Well, if you're not, okay, that should be most of us then. There is a particular dynamic in training when the watch needs to go, when we need to not be tracking all the metrics all the time. There's certain considerations. And so we're going to at least try to convince you to take that seriously. And along the way, we'll see. Now, I should say, because our recent conversation and I believe it was our most recent episode, in fact, prior to this one, was about what David Epstein called wicked environments. If you remember, we were talking about how running is a wicked environment. And if that makes you scratch your head and say, huh, then you should go back and listen to that episode.
It's not a morality thing.
No. But I'm
in case you're wondering, like, what is
I'm deliberately not trying to tell you what it is, because if you are getting upset with me for calling running wicked, then you're probably more likely to listen to the episode.
Oh, okay.
Because now you want to know.
Curiosity.
Actually, though, I'm going to give some small explanation here, because there's actually a connection between these two topics. And what it is the reflection around wicked environments is this principal idea that they are not consistent, not predictable entities. And so what that means is that to be best prepared to handle a wicked environment, to experience one successfully, we need to be adaptable, agile. We need to be generalized in terms of our preparation, some of these kinds of things. And the raw truth of the matter is that the recent onset, and recent is the wrong word because it's now been decades, but the recent onset of the data-heavy tracking watches, running pods, heart rate monitors, all the stuff, data-heavy tracking has produced less agility, less adaptability in runners writ large. And so if that's true, then part of the concern now is we are no longer making some of the on-the-fly adjustments as runners that we should be making in our training to produce the best possible results. And I am going to make the claim that the reason we're not making those adjustments is because they don't look as good on paper. And we have those hard data, and we're sharing them on Strava. And the combination of tracking it and sharing it publicly makes us want to massage the numbers, as they say. And that's not healthy. Or maybe it's not healthy. And we'll talk about it. So that's the topic. Now, you see the connection with the last episode. And if you still don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to it because it's really interesting. What is a wicked environment and why is running a wicked environment? We'll talk about that in the previous one. All right. So when we say ditch the watch, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about the point is that you only know how far you're running. You don't know how long it's taking you. Sometimes the duration of the run by necessity has to be the time, not the distance. And in fact, there are many instances where that's the better metric to have. Rather than knowing you ran 10 miles, it's good to know that you ran 2 hours, things like that. And so that's what we mean. You only know that, whichever of those two, but not both of them. So either distance or time. And then it's a complete separation from any tracking of these data. So you're going to say, well, I'll track it, but I won't look at it while I'm running. No. When we say ditch the watch, we're saying don't even track it. For these certain examples we're about to give, the times when we are going to suggest you should ditch the watch. So if you're not going to do it all the time, you should at least do it at certain times. And that's what I mean. Ditch the watch means no tracking, so that you can't look at it later on, so that you can't post the information on your social running apps to tell people how well you did or did not do, and then code it with your emoji reactions like, this was a really rough day, when in fact you actually felt really good about it, but you're just posting that because you don't want people to see those numbers and think that you're proud of them. I don't know. The psychology of Strava has me distraught. But
I have to say, though, that I haven't run with a watch for many years because I've been in a little bit of a weird place.
Because I stole it and smashed it with a hammer, and she
true.
doesn't actually.
As actually, he was less. He would wear it more than I would. I just don't remember to put it back on. I don't charge it. There's actually a myriad of reasons why I'm not a great watch wearer, but because I needed to track my runs, or at least know like how much time I was running, I would like put 2-hour run on my Strava, sometimes without an estimation and sometimes with an estimation of how far that was. And I was always modest in that evaluation. But if I was tracking my like full volumes so that I knew like as my running log. It's so better to have a running log.
Writing it down somewhere, she'd post it.
Right. So there's also like if there's a happy medium, if you're someone who's using it in that capacity to go back and look to see what your volumes have been, then I don't think that it's bad to like put in something so that you have that to look back on. But it does also free you up so that you're not like, I have to have my watch in order to have a running log. So it's an option.
Yeah. Well, let's continue because that's part of the reflection. Well, why should this matter at all? And so like, is there a better way to even like what specifically I'm tracking or not tracking to meet all of the demands, the needs? Like it is good to actually log your training so you know how much you're doing, and you can kind of track what your body did in response to that training. Like that is a good thing. But what if you don't have any information to track? Well, it might be better than tracking too much. And so if your answer is I'm tracking everything or I'm tracking nothing, then I would suggest tracking nothing. Generally speaking, again, these are conditionals, but there's layers of reasons why. So part of it is, as we were just alluding to, there is there's a name for this, and I cannot remember what it is, but there's a thing that we do where we want to share only the best information about ourselves, with others. We want the affirmation that we get from others knowing that we did a good job. And we also want to avoid the shame. That's a strong word for this because it's not really shame, but that kind of emotion that we experience when other people know that we didn't do a great job. And so that's a layer of concern here. The watch is tracking all of that information. And so now when we post our runs, then it's like, well, I need to make sure that it's good enough so that I can, share it publicly. And if not, I need to make sure that people know that I know that it's not good. So I'm going to put a caption on it. And that's where we've talked about this before. That's where we do this thing when we're running, where we're actually like planning the caption we're going to put. Caption's probably the wrong. What is it called? Your post.
I mean, that's your
heading.
post.
Yeah, your caption, your post, whatever. You're planning the language of that caption while you're running, because inevitably you know that this isn't going super well. You're not feeling great. You're not having a great day. And so now you're thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to call it then on the thing. Why does that matter? It's very interesting, isn't it? It's very strange. But it matters so much, in fact, that it actually changes the decisions that we're making. And it even can at times lead us to make decisions about our training that are unwise. We want to avoid that. So that's a piece of the puzzle here. But that's a smaller piece. That we've talked about that in the past. That's a significant thing. It's actually probably the bigger piece in truth. But that's not the focus of our reflection right now. The focus now is just not even having the information, the ditch the watch mindset. Well, why does that matter? There's a couple layers here. When we have these kinds of information, these kinds of data, then we do things falling under some of these categories, like self-fulfilling prophecy. I know there's something that I want to see, and so then even if I tell myself I'm not deliberately making it happen, I'm actually subconsciously deliberately making it happen. That's part of self-fulfilling prophecy. Like the thing that I want to happen, I make happen. I influence it in a way that makes it happen. And then there's also another layer of it, is a self-serving bias, which is another psychological principle that now suggests when I'm successful, then I attribute it to my own characteristics, like my own merits brought about that success. And then when I am not successful, I blame it on external factors. And so it's like, the watch is telling me, oh, things are going really well. And it's like, yeah, because I've been working hard, or because I've been very consistent in my training and all of these things. I'm making good choices. And then it's like, oh, the watch is telling me things aren't going super well. And it's like, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Or that thing that I had to eat for lunch today because I couldn't eat my normal lunch was just no good. Or I'm stressed out because this person did this thing or said this thing, work, family, or otherwise, all that kind of stuff. And it's like external. That's why I'm having a hard time. It's not internal, it's external. So we internalize success and we externalize failure. That's what self-serving bias is. And that plays a role in this. We have the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm just throwing out all the psychological.
Okay, tell me what that is.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is how when our ability levels are not super high, we tend to overestimate our competence. We believe ourselves more capable than we actually are. And so the example here and why this applies is because what ends up happening is we have a training goal, like a time in a marathon that we want to run in 3 months. And so we start to apply this mindset of I should be able to run that time right now. But that's like totally not true. If I'm training my body to be that fit 12 weeks from now, it doesn't make any sense that should be something that I'm capable of doing today. And yet if I'm not, then I somehow think that I have failed. Like I've overestimated my current fitness. Let's replace the word competence with fitness. I've overestimated my current fitness. And the reality is not that there's something wrong in my training. It's just that I am applying a layer of, whether it's conscious or otherwise, ignorance to the thing that I'm trying to do.
I don't know if it's always that people feel that they should be able to do a certain thing because they're overestimating themselves, but maybe rather they're underestimating the process of training and how powerful it is and how much better they can get throughout a season.
Sure, that's the same thing. You're just
right
saying
in reverse.
Opposite terms.
But
I'm
no,
not saying this is something people always do. I'm saying this
Yeah.
is one of the possible things that influence our decision making. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I certainly have been guilty of like running, especially when I'm in a place of frustration, as I think about where I used to be as a runner and the times I used to run, and I'll run like the treadmill. It's a little unavoidable to get some data on the treadmill, but like, oh, I used to run a marathon at that pace, and now one of those miles feels very hard, and having that discouragement. And it's not like I should be able to, but kind of like a want. And that data does not help me where I'm at in the moment. It's just telling me, something I wish I could do or I wish would feel better.
That's probably some part of the last one here, which I won't explain in any detail right now because we've talked about it quite a bit on this podcast, but the mismatch theory.
Mm-hmm.
Mismatch theory tells us that our expectations don't line up with what we're experiencing in reality, and apply the hazard score to that equation, and suddenly it's causing us problems because we think we should be doing something, or we think we would like to be doing something. There's many layers. Yeah.
But I think I have told you all before that, and this is true for many, and you have likely experienced this for yourself, but you run something in training, and then come race day when you're peaked, completely trained, it just is so cool how much faster you're able to run at a lower effort than what you were doing in some of your workouts in the season. So don't be discouraged, and also maybe lose some of that data to give you more peace while you're running.
We'll come back to that because that's a big reflection in this process. If I can summarize, though, because we're expressing our concerns right now, and this is why we're going to make the recommendations we're about to make. But the summary is that really, when it comes to watches, you could say our concerns fall in two basic statements. The watch gives us sterile information devoid of context. And so it's information that has no real contextual substance. And we, as humans, live in context. We don't live outside of context. And so this is why sociology is such an imprecise science. If you could even call sociology a science, it's possibly even more art than science. And the reason for that is because humans don't exist in vacuums. And so what happens in one context and works doesn't in another. And that is why running is a wicked environment. And so we see him connecting those dots again. And then the second one is that the watch feedback is not built around the core principles of building fitness. The things that we should be doing to build fitness is not what the watch feedback is oriented around informationally. And so we have to make jumps and leaps in applying and implying information based on the watch feedback. And most of us just aren't really doing that. Not with any great substance, because it takes time and calculations and reflections, and we just look at the watch and find out what the run told us, and we either get excited about it or get disappointed with it. And it's kind of about that simple most of the time. So we have to remember that the watch is imperfect. And it's imperfect because of those reasons, and also at times even just giving us altogether incorrect information, because every now and then the watch has issues. And so the heart rate monitor is telling you that you're running at 200 beats per minute, and you're like, that doesn't even seem possible because I should be dead if I'm running at 200 beats per minute for the last 30 minutes, but that's the watch telling me that, or the heart rate monitor I'm wearing wherever I'm wearing it. And then also it's things like the GPS isn't connecting super well for a stretch. And so you get a run that the numbers are just slightly off, and you're thinking, wow, I cooked today. I was just moving. And then the next week when you run that same route, it's like, wow, I'm so much slower. What happened to me? It's a problem. And in truth, it's very likely that one of those two runs was inaccurate. The GPS was just slightly off in some sense. So you get things like that, which just make it a little more complicated. So what are we then aspiring toward? We want runners who are deliberately working toward their fitness goals without obfuscation or distraction. We want runners who know what I need to do, the input, and to build toward my goals, know what I need to do to build toward my goals, and know what I need to see or experience, the output that demonstrates progress. And then ultimately knowing what I don't want to see or experience that tells me something is amiss. That's what we want. You could say the watch could help with that some. I'm going to make the case, ultimately, that the watch is the least efficient way to achieve those ends. And there are better ways without the watch. But either way, that's our intent. That's our hope for runners. And so this is one way that we think might help you get there. Here's when to ditch the watch.
As promised.
As promised. Number one, the most important time to ditch your watch that I think all runners should do, always. Base training. When you are building up your base volume of running, like I'm just getting back into things, I'm just building things back up to kind of my normal running foundation in terms of volume. Do not time those runs. Don't know how fast you're running or not. Just go out and get that volume up and do it at a very easy effort. Because anything else, any other contributing information is making me think things that are not productive. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so out of shape. Why? I just ran this race 4 weeks ago, and now it's so hard for me to even run 2 minutes slower than that. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You're just trying to get your body back to a good, stable foundation. And nothing else matters. No amount of what is my heart rate doing, what is my pace doing, none of that matters during this time. So ditch the watch. Second, and not quite as important as that one, but very nearly, is we don't need to be timing our easy runs. We don't need to know the pace of our easy effort runs, regardless of how long they are. It could be a short recovery run. It could be your long run. But if it's supposed to just be an easy effort run, don't time it. Run easy and figure out how to run easy enough that it is truly an easy effort, and do that every time you run easy. And don't use a watch. Because that watch isn't really doing you any good in those instances. There are some arguments to be made, like you track that information over time and it kind of shows you your fitness progression in some senses, and that's very true. But I think it's significantly more likely to influence your decision making to the negative.
I've also mentioned this on the podcast not that long ago. I can't remember the context of it, but when you change your period in running, so like if you move from one segment of training to the next, your easy run might change because your recovery needs might change. Yeah. Like if you're running harder, higher effort runs, like in longer, so you're doing long tempos or something, your next day might be slower than it is in other parts of training. So yeah. It doesn't mean you're losing fitness. It just means that you're prioritizing recovery maybe a little better.
So here's the science. The easy effort run is the largest window of exertion, or if you were to apply the heart rate zones, it's the largest zone that is still productive. Whether you're at the top of that zone or the bottom of the zone, they're still productive. And as a consequence, we should be able to make full use of that zone so that on days when my body needs to be going slower, lower exertion, because that's what I need based on the context, like Andy's saying, my recovery needs, maybe my sleep, hydration, all that stuff. On those days, I should use the bottom end of that exertion. I absolutely should. And on other days where everything is clicking along much better, I might be toward the higher end of that exertion. But the key takeaway here is that on one day this week, I could be on the low end, and one day on the high end, I might be running a minute per mile or more different in pace, and both of them are exactly what they should be. That's why you should ditch the watch for those runs, because you're going to see that number and you're going to think something's wrong. Or you're going to think something's really right with a really good one. Either way, neither of those things are true. They're just simply not true. Nothing's wrong with the slower run, and nothing's amazing about the faster run. You're just simply fluctuating, as every human does, within the range of what the context presents to me that day and what my body needs to do to get the productive element, the adaptation I intend. So all you need to do for easy effort runs is run for a certain duration at a low effort. That's principally the only thing you need. And so why would a watch help you achieve that end? It actually wouldn't. It would not. There's no context in which the watch helps you achieve that end better than you will on your own once you develop that intuition a little bit. Maybe the first few times you do it, you're all over the place and you aren't sure what you're doing with your paces or something. But if you don't have a watch on, you wouldn't know that either. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay, that's number 2. Now, are you ready for number 3?
I have one more thing, though, about
yes.
that. Okay, so for the easy runs, I do think that it's very helpful in regards to not posting it, having all your data. And the reason is, and not everyone has this issue, but if you were to start an easy run, maybe a little too hot, you are listening to a song that's really great, or you just were in a heated argument with your significant other and you start off too fast, you need to be able to make the proper adjustment without thinking, oh, people are going to think that like I tanked on my easy day. Like you don't want to have any other part of that decision making that's going to negatively affect your ability to run what you need to run for that day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while we're on fire right now, let's make some enemies.
What?
No,
don't make enemies.
If your coach tells you your easy run should be X pace, let's call it 8-minute pace per mile, your coach just lied to you, because that is very much not true. The idea that a run should be a certain pace at an easy effort, that an easy run should be a certain pace, is absurd. You should have a significant tolerance of pace there. So anyway, that's why I'm going to make some enemies, because there are coaches out there. I personally have participated in coaching in this way in the past when I was coaching some younger runners, where the assumption was made like, if you're running any slower than this pace, then it's just a waste of time, or things like that, right? They're going to say stuff like that, and that's not true. That's just not. All right. I apologize to my runners who heard me say that in the past. Last one, number 3. Ditch the watch for intervals and repeats.
No.
Yeah,
what?
you heard it. Ditch the watch on your interval workouts. And there are 2 simple reasons. The first is because I'm assuming that you're doing an interval workout and some amount of measured distance, like you're on a track, you're in an area where this spot to this spot is a quarter mile, that kind of stuff. I'm assuming that's the case. And so here's the thing. An interval workout is not supposed to be a certain pace to achieve the training adaptations you need. There's a time and a place to train your body to experience certain paces. I agree with that statement.
On track especially.
Yeah, there's
Shorter
a time
distances.
and a place, but that time and a place is not every single time you do an interval workout. It's at certain points in the training process and in certain types of workouts more than others. Interval workouts, in principle, need to be a regular kind of neuromuscular stimulus, or there's 2 different types, or a regular kind of aerobic/anaerobic or threshold stimulus. And whether or not it's a certain pace is not the thing that tells you if you're getting the right stimulus. If you really truly want to do an interval workout the way it ought to be done, then you got to do the Norwegian method and like blood lactate test yourself every interval workout, because you're supposed to have a certain amount of exertion and sustain that for a given amount of time, repeat after repeat. But I'm assuming you're not pricking your finger every rep, or your ear, as many of them do, to test your blood. So if you're not doing that, then you just need to learn how to exert that degree. You need to teach yourself that, and your watch is lying to you the whole time. It's either telling you too much or too little or otherwise. So this is not as important as the easy runs and the base building. I will concede that point, but it is a key, and it is a way that you can achieve better training adaptations from this type of training if you just ditch the watch. Put it away. Teach yourself how to run hard and free, and you'll be glad. Honorable mention. I did have to kind of sneak one more in there. We get into a lot of trouble as runners on our long runs.
Oh.
We get into so much trouble on our long runs. How many people have said, yeah, it was that long run that caused that injury, or I felt that injury on that long run? It's so many times. It's because we love to see those progressive paces when we're speeding up in the second half. We love to see those long runs reaching new, faster paces. It means we're getting into better and better shape and all of that. We make too many bad choices when we're doing long runs with the watch. And so this falls under the same category as easy runs. But a long run might also not be an easy run depending on what you're doing in training. Either way, if it's an easy effort long run, for sure, we need to ditch the watch. And if it's not an easy effort long run, I still might make the case, but it depends. So there you go.
And one of the depends, I have to say, this is a time that a watch, I think, for me, is beneficial. I haven't done those long workouts in a very long time. But part of it is because I lose my bearings. Sometimes I just get in my own head. And so then I'm like, oh my word, like I'm like, it's not that my the time has changed or the pace has changed because I need it to. It's just because I lose my focus. And so sometimes the watch can remind me, oh, I'm running a workout. I need to press. And that helps remind me. It's just a feedback to be like, Andy, wake up.
It does. The case can be made that the more times you do that without the watch and you push yourself to stay focused, the more you've trained that capacity. Right, but it's a training run.
So, it helps you train that sometimes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It becomes the handicap. Right, yeah. It becomes the handicap that it allows for it. It just depends. That it can help you bridge the gap, which is the point I think you're making.
Yeah, it's a tool.
Yeah. So let's wrap it all up and say, when we ditch the watch, when we do this, we have no choice but to focus internally. Our exertion, our body's response to that exertion, our available energy. That's the only thing we can pay attention to anymore when we don't have the watch. And that's really where we want to be as runners. Okay? Paint the picture. Imagine it. You know how much energy is available to you. You know how much you can exert and how much your current exertion will cost in terms of that energy. And you know how your body's going to respond when you do that exertion. As a runner, if that were true, you'd be able to do anything. You could get anything out of your body that your body's capable of producing. And that's the core of what we believe to be the best possible state that a runner can find for achieving goals and enjoying the sport. So that's why we think you should ditch the watch. And that's when we think you should ditch the watch.
Are we going to tell people when we think they could use a watch or could be beneficial?
No.
No?
Because we don't think you should use a watch. But if you're going to,
time trials,
at least ditch it for those things that we just mentioned. All right, well, there's plenty more that we could say about it, but we're not going to right now because now we're going to play some running trivia. And we're back with running trivia, everybody's favorite running game where we get an AI to ask us questions about a topic and then 3 questions, multiple choice answers. We try to guess the right answer, and whoever gets to 10 points first wins whatever the prize is for that round between Andy and Zach. And you need to play along. We know that some of you do because you've been telling us your scores. So far, nobody has won before Andy or Zach. But it's been close.
Yeah.
It's been very close. And so keep us posted. We use the random topic generator for full fairness. And usually it goes really well. And so we're going to do that again. We're going to spin it right now and find out. Our topic will be, perfect, right? Perfect.
Good timing.
Yeah, because indoor track's going on right now. So the topic is indoor track and field, 1990s top women's performers and or performances.
Cool. I like that topic.
That's interesting.
While you are getting AI set up, I need to go get your reward for
have
winning
it?
the last segment.
Oh my goodness, I thought you
would be
forgot.
great timing.
I wasn't going to try to remind you. So as Andy's going to do that, I'm going to get everything rocking and rolling for us with the topic here. So this is the way we try to set this up, right? We use the spinner, and then we tell the AI the topic and ask it to ask us questions about that topic. As you know, the AI loses track of itself fairly regularly and easily. It's like AI is like a 7-year-old boy in a elementary math classroom. It's like, wait, what am I doing right now? That was one very, very specific example. I'm not going to tell you why. So this is how we play the game. And then this is what Andy's doing right now. So the loser between the two of us has to buy the winner a running prize. And it's kind of just loser chooses whatever you want to get. And so Andy lost the most recent round. It was close. What was the score?
Telling everyone I'm a loser.
It was 8-10. So Andy was 2 points behind Zach. I won by 2. And so she got me this. If you're not watching, wait, do I open it right now?
Yeah.
Is that okay, so if you're not watching, you're going to have to hear my descriptions. And if you're watching, you get to see the big reveal. Oh, okay, it's some kind of cup. It's a cup. It's got a straw. I see a straw. I just pulled it out. There's a cup here. And oh, look at that. How good. It's got the AtoZrunning logo on the knockoff Stanley Cup, right? This is supposed to be like a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Yes, and that's outstanding. Wow. Thank you. That is
You're
so nice.
welcome.
I need to keep winning these games. I get such cool things when I win. I'm going to keep that on the table here so everyone can enjoy the wonderful sight of AtoZrunning Stanley Cup. Okay. Thank you.
It's not a Stanley Cup, though, to be clear.
What's the difference?
It's
The
not the
brand
brand.
name?
Yeah, that's
Well,
a brand. It's a cup.
The Stanley Cup's not the Stanley Cup either, though, because
Steel
that's a hockey
insulated.
trophy. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up the AI so that it knows what to do. And, oh, by the way, I'm using a different AI this time because I'm kind of curious if it goes better or worse. So we're just going to have to give it a whirl. Okay, so here's the deal. We are on a podcast we're recording right now. It's a running podcast called the AtoZrunning Podcast, and we're going to have you participate in a trivia segment with us. How does that sound?
That sounds fun. I'm happy to join in. What kind of running trivia are we talking about?
We're going to give you a topic. We use this random topic generator, and so this is the topic that it gave us. And we're going to ask you to give us multiple choice questions. We're talking about indoor track and field, specifically focused on indoor track in the 1990s, and focusing on top women's performers or performances. So indoor track in the 1990s, top women's performers or performances. And go ahead and give us a question.
Certainly. In 1999, at the IAAF World Indoor Championships, a standout performance occurred. Which woman broke the world record in the 200-meter dash? A. Marlene Ottey, B. Irina Privalova, C. Marion Jones, or D. Fatima Awam?
Wow. I should have specified distance running. But, okay. Give us those 4 options again, please.
No problem. The options were A. Marlene Ottey, B. Irina Privalova, C. Marion Jones, or D. Fatima Awam?
I
got it.
have no idea.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. What did you guess? You guessed B,
Preview.
and I guessed C. What was the correct answer?
The correct answer was B. Irina Privalova. She'd set that world record in 1999.
Well done. Andy's got a point.
I paid more attention in my youth to track and field than you
but
did.
that's like the 200 meters. That's interesting.
You said Marion Jones.
I don't know who
It
that
was
is.
Not Marion.
Who's Marion
What?
Jones?
You don't know who Marion Jones
No,
is?
I just recognized the name.
She's a multi-athlete.
Was she? Oh,
She,
see, that's
like,
why.
long jump,
That's why I don't know who she is.
gold medalist, but she also was a medalist in running.
Well, didn't she get caught
Yeah,
cheating?
She's a drug cheat.
That's why her name stood out to me. Okay,
But I don't think she broke any world records in running.
Okay, well, that's fine, but that's one question down. We're going to ask us another question. This time, we want you to focus on distance running. generally speaking. So like middle distance and distance running in indoor track in the 1990s, specifically top women's performers or performances. Go ahead and give us 4 multiple choice options.
Shifting to distance. In 1990, a notable woman distance runner set a new indoor world record in the 5,000 meters. Which runner was it? A. Liz McColgan, B. Ingrid Christiansen, C. Alana Meyer, or D. Uta Pippig?
Indoor track is so difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I know. Do you have a guess, or should you hear them again?
Oh, man. I think it's probably be something I don't know.
Quite challenging.
Okay, wait.
The options
No,
were
don't
A.
give us.
Liz McColgan, B. Ingrid Christiansen, C. Alana Meyer, or D. Uta Pippig?
Okay, you ready? Guess in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, okay. I guessed B, and Andy guessed C. What was the correct answer?
The correct answer was C. Alana Meyer. She set the record in 1990.
Andy's on a roll. 2 points. 2 points. Indoor track is your thing. Okay, give us one more question. Again, we're focusing on indoor track during the 1990s, top women's performers and or performances.
How about this? At the 1993 IAAF World Indoor Championships, a remarkable performance in the 1500 meters took place. Which athlete took gold, setting a championship record? A. Doina Malinte, B. Lyudmila Rogachova, C. Maria Matula, or D. Regina Jacobs?
All right. We think it was C. What was the correct answer?
That's a tough one. The correct answer was B. Lyudmila Rogachova. It sounds like you both have some great knowledge about 90s indoor track.
Oh, what a shaft. The AI goes and tells us that this runner is a 4-time world champion in indoor track in the 1500, and then gives us a 1500 where that person didn't win. I'm not so sure that these questions were correct. Okay, well, if you didn't notice, with our savvy editing skills, you may not have detected that we were having some trouble with that AI. It just did not want to work very well.
No, I have to go back.
We might have to use another one again. But either way, Andy Andy skunks Zach a 2-0 lead, and that is quite the statement.
My first time.
So now Andy starting the new round, even though she had to give Zach a Stanley Cup for winning previously, she's off to the races. And so here we go. 2-0 goes to Andy, and now we're going to see how this next round pans out. But I think that's good for trivia for today. Now we got to tell you some of the most exciting indoor track and field news in history as we talk about the world of running. Kicking things off in the world of running, a quick A to Z runner update. One of our most recent performances was Mike running in the Houston Marathon, and a strong performance at that. Congrats, Mike, on that.
Congrats, Mike.
And more exciting things to come.
Yeah.
So let's talk about indoor track and field for a little bit. The running trivia segment was just so spot on. That's where we're at right now. This is indoor track season, and it's at its height, which means things are just really exciting. Starting off with the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix, and an obscure event, less frequently contested event, but still an interesting one at that, is the men's 2,000 meters. 2,000 meters is a mile plus a quarter, as you know, and that makes it kind of one of those odd things. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much strictly milers who have run that well, outside of like a handful of standout distance runners who kind of drop down to run it. And it just so happens to be that a lot of the time, those distance runners, when they drop down to run it, do it really well. Case in point, Kenenisa Bekele, the Ethiopian 10,000 meter king, held the world record in the 2000.
For a long time. How long?
For a long time.
We don't know.
Until now. Well, it was USA's Grant Fisher and Hobbs Kessler who together went after Bekele's world record. And remember that Fisher holds 2 indoor world records currently, the 3,000 and the 5,000. This dude is an indoor track fiend. And now he's got a chance at a third. To hold 3 at once would just be absurd. unfortunately, rather than Fisher holding through at once, Kessler gets his own world record by beating out Grant Fisher. Both of them ran under the previous world record.
Yeah.
Incredible performances. So now they are world number 1 and 2. Fisher got Bekele's record by like half a second, and Kessler almost put us a full second under it.
Was Hocker in this one?
No, he didn't run this one.
I feel like he'd be really good at this event because he is a miler who won the 5,000 at the World Championships. Like, this seems like it'd be a sweet spot for him.
Remember when Fisher broke the 3,000 world record?
Yeah, that was
Hocker
Hocker
also broke the 3,000 world record
on his
behind
tail.
Fisher.
Yep.
So, similar story. Yes, I think Hocker would have a good chance at this kind of a record too.
But looking good for Hobbs Kessler.
Looking good.
He's been looking very, very strong.
As strong as he has ever looked, in fact, this indoor season. Kessler is no stranger to being amazing during indoor track and then not staying healthy super well during outdoor. In fact, we'll come back to that here in a little bit. Great quote. His coach told him before this race, don't squeeze, explode. And so, as Kessler says, that's what I tried to do. I thought that was really funny. Because in racing and competing, he's trying to beat the legendary Grant Fisher. And so the idea here is don't try to squeeze him down, like just picking it up. You got to go and go hard when you take over. And that's what he did, and it worked.
It worked.
In the 800 at the Indoor Grand Prix, Josh Hoey also set a new world record. He just recently set the world record in the 600 meters indoors. I guess it's a world best, but set the record in the 600 meters indoors. Now he's back at it again, this time in the 800. And how cool that the race was paced by his older brother.
Oh, I just love that.
His brother paced him to a world record.
It's so precious. And now you'll remember that one of the really cool things about their family is that their dad made a track at their homestead. Is it farm country?
I don't know.
But during COVID, when everything was shut down, so that the brothers could train. And I just think that that's so cool. Like, as a family, they have cultivated, curated this phenomenal and now legendary American distance runner. Now that you've gotten a world record, like you are in the history books, no doubt.
So not only did Josh Hoey just set a new indoor world record, running 142.5, which is crazy fast on an indoor track with those banked corners, and that's crazy. That was a 29-year-old record set by the legendary Wilson Kip Keeter himself. And in fact, with the exception of Kip Keeter, no one else in history has run within even a full second of Josh Hoey's record.
That's massive.
More than a second faster than the next fastest person behind Kip Keeter. That's outstanding.
Those are some cool facts.
Yeah. So the next meet on the docket was the Boston University Terrier Classic. And this one particularly stood out because Sam Ruth, the New Zealander, the Kiwi himself, the great teenage sensation, he is 16 years old and he's running faster than basically everybody else in the world. He ran his first ever indoor race. He came over to run the indoor mile, and he did it with style. So a couple of weeks ago, Sam Ruth ran 3:53 in a meet in Australia, or it might have been Australia or New Zealand, but somewhere right over there. Ran 3:53, and it was a world under 18 record. Very impressive performance. And then he comes to Boston and runs on an indoor track and ran 3:48.8.
That's a massive PR.
It is a 5-second PR. Now, granted, you're going outdoor to indoor, so there's separate records, but still a 5-second mile PR. It's also an overall New Zealand national record. We're talking about legends like John Walker, who didn't run as fast as Sam Ruth.
How old is this
did.
kid?
16 years old.
Yeah.
That is a world under 20 record for the indoor
He's got
mile.
4 more years to improve on that.
Well, no, 3.
3,
technically,
okay.
Because
3,
you can't
yeah.
turn 20. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It is also world number 12 all time on indoor track or short track mile. And he's 16 years old. Do you know who that sounds like when we were talking about this 16-year-old? Jakob Ingebrigtsen.
Oh, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. I was going to say Jacob.
Everyone was talking about Ingebrigtsen when he was 16 years old and the records he was breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Ruth.
Yeah.
Sam Ruth.
True.
All right. Also at Boston, Roisin Willis, newly minted professional runner with New Balance. She, if you recall, went pro after an outstanding collegiate season in Stanford, collegiate career in Stanford, winning the U.S. championships. Did she win? I think she won the U.S. championships in the 800 last year, and just having a stellar season at the end of last year. So now she's at it with a vengeance as a pro and ran the 800 and ran it in a U.S. indoors 800-meter record, 157.97.
That is, I just have been shocked at the improvements in the 800.
Yeah.
Because typically the best in the U.S. were running around like 2 minutes indoors. And then like by the end of the season, they might be dipping under 2. But this is 157.97. That's significantly faster than what we've been seeing on a regular basis anyway.
Sure. But here's the thing. She didn't even win the race.
Nope.
It was Great Britain's Issy Buffy who ran personal best, a 2-second personal best when she ran 157.43 to win the race. That's the world number 8 indoor time for Buffy. Wow. And we're not done yet.
We're not done
because
yet.
Now we get to talk about Milrose Games. On the 1st of February in New York, where all fast indoor running happens. By the way, Milrose Games is like the longest running indoor track meet, I think, on the planet.
Cool.
It's incredible how long they've been doing this meet. And you'll find out more about that in a moment. Lots of great races. It was just an incredible meet. Lots of fun. The women's 3,000 was exciting. Jane Hedengren was going for the NCAA record, but Doris Lemongole was not going to let her have it again. And so Lemongole ran 8:31.39 for a new collegiate record ahead of Caitlin Tui's. But Jane Hedengren was also ahead of Tui's record, just 3 or so seconds behind Lemongole. And both of them just running outstanding performances. Hedengren she has to understand that Lemongole is not just a fast college runner. She is one of the best distance runners on the planet. And I hope that she realizes that so that she's not getting too discouraged by the fact that she just can't beat her. Because Hedengren's the fastest collegiate runner of all time, minus Lemongole. Like, she's got the record in the 5,000. Remember, Hedengren has that record by a lot. So hopefully it's not getting in her head. But
I think it's good. Something to chase. Someone to chase.
It's competition. She's certainly not in a league by herself. Mm-hmm. In the men's 2-mile then, listen to this field. Listen, Andy, read this field. Who was in this race?
We have Cole Hocker, Olympic medalist, world champ.
Olympic champ.
World champ. Gordy Beamish. Remember, he was the world champ. Kind of a surprise to many.
Indoor and outdoor, though, too. So he's won a couple different things.
Yeah, New Zealand records. And then we have Josh Kerr, world champion. He's been on the scene a long time. Jake Whiteman. Remember, he was the world champ over Ingebrigtsen. Another fun Brit upset to Ingebrigtsen. Ethan Strand, who has NCAA records, and then Hubtum Samuel, NCAA records, and Graham Blanks, more records, NCAA. Kai Robinson, who's also another collegiate star, NCAA records, and more than that. There were even more.
Yeah, so like legendary field. Legendary. All of these like outstanding runners at the professional level, collegiate level, and otherwise, and now they're all professionals. But just incredible field, right? And then you have to say, well, whoever wins this race, that's got to mean something. That's got to mean something. Well, who do you think is going to win this race then? I mean, it's when something important is on the line, he shows up big every time.
And a 2-mile race is not a contested race very often, so it is a little bit more mysterious, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, Cole Hocker did the thing he always does and won the race, and that's the whole story. He had the best finish of everyone else, even though this is a group of runners who you could say some of them have the fastest finishes of all time, and they do. Winning races is not new for Hocker, but winning non-championship races is actually something he very rarely does. And so when it comes down to it, this, I think, is an advancement in his career. I think it continues to demonstrate progress. It's really something. I have some personal qualms about how he goes about doing it, but we won't talk about that. All right, so...
Well, he wanted to see Cole Hocker run a faster time.
They should have broken the world record in this race.
And
they should have done it, but Cole Hocker didn't care about that. He just wanted to win.
Remember how he said like the 2,000 would have been a great race for him, which is a little over a mile, and this is like the 2 mile, which I know that there is quite a difference between the two, but this isn't his wheelhouse. He's got a big wheelhouse. 1,500 all the way to 5,000 is his wheelhouse.
Sure.
So I really do think he could have run the world record, but instead he kind of played it safe.
No, I guarantee someone could have broken the world record in that race. With a field like that, with so many people just on top of their game, that they didn't break the world record is only because Cole Hocker was not willing to
Someone
run
else could have, though.
in front
That's
of.
all
I know,
those guys
but he
could have
was
let
in the
it.
position. That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
found himself in the position, and instead of going with the rabbit, chasing the rabbit, and setting that hot pace, he held back so that someone else would go up, and that slowed the whole field down.
But remember, he is a tactician, so maybe he
know.
wasn't ready to run that kind of time. It's at that point in the season.
I think he was.
Maybe,
if
maybe
he can
not.
run 8:07 off of the kind of tactical race that they just did, I think he could have run a handful of seconds faster. But the reality is that's my speculation. But I've seen this before. This is why I get frustrated here. I've seen this before from Hocker. Hocker is not willing to do anything other than the most optimal race for him to win. And that's fine in terms of like championship running and everything. That's what you should do.
That's the goal of a race.
Right. That's what you should do. But win. There are also times like races like this where it's like, let's just go for it. Let's go big. And if I can still win the day, great. But if I don't and the guy behind me gets the world record because we went for it together, like that's what this kind of race is for. Because who really cares if you win the Millrose 2 mile? Like,
I mean,
that's
I would
exciting.
Care if I won a Millrose,
that's exciting. But Cole Hocker's an Olympic and world champion. The Millrose 2 mile is nothing next to Olympic and world champion. So why don't you just go for it and just see what happens? But he wouldn't. He wouldn't do it because that's not the way he does it. I don't know. I'm not in his head. But
what else happened?
Well, Josh Kerr was second. Parker Wolf was third. Parker Wolf was the kind of like sleeper pick for this race. He's been looking fresh ever since he won that U.S. Cross Champs.
Actually, his kick was looking pretty good too.
Oh, yeah.
And I am impressed with Kerr, honestly.
Yeah, because he's had a rough go.
He has, and just that it's the closing bit. He's always in it, but it's that last 100 meters, and he's hanging, and so that's looking good for him.
When Josh Kerr is at his best, he's one of the best kickers in the world.
In the world, right. Yeah. When he's
that's what he does,
sharp.
So we'll see. Notably, Kai Robinson ran an Australian 2 mile record as well. He ran 8:08.4.
Nice.
Very fast. In the women's mile then, so now we're talking Wanamaker Mile. This is the feature event of Millrose. It's always the big deal. Who has won the Wanamaker Mile? It's like a badge of honor, right?
They have the pyro.
They do the fireworks and announce, but they don't do it for the whole field. Did you notice that? They only do it for the special people.
Oh, wow. There's not that many people in the race, so they should just do it for everybody.
I know. I agree. And so the women's mile is certainly a hotly contested event. We did have some late withdrawals, which was a bummer. Dorcas Ewoy and Ellie St. Pierre withdrew.
Oh.
And so they were scheduled to run, but they scratched out last minute. And so it wasn't quite as stacked as it was intended to be, but still always an exciting event. It was Nikki Hiltz who pulled off another strong victory.
Which you guessed that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Watching the race, I was like, I'm confident that no one here is going to beat Hiltz today. If Hiltz is on, like fresh and ready to race, it takes a special race to run Hiltz's kick out. And if you can't do that, then there aren't very many people that out kick.
But one person that could perhaps do that would be Jessica Hall.
That was the X factor. Jessica Hall of Australia, who is no stranger to silver medals, has her one person she can't ever beat, and it's the only person she can't ever beat, is Faith Kipyegon. And so now you're watching this race and you're thinking, well, Jessica Hall's beaten everyone in this race many times, and it's true. However, she ran a 3,000 like a week or two ago and looked awful.
Oh, no.
So coming into this, I was like, I don't know, that cross country season with the World Championships and everything, maybe it just kind of put her off kilter a little bit.
That was an intense cross country course, by the way.
But I have to say, Hall looked great. Hall looked fantastic. What Jessica Hall did not have in this race was quite enough push in the middle to just get away from everybody. And so it was Hull and Hiltz coming down the pike, and Hiltz had a better kick.
Yeah.
And that was all there was to it. 4:19 for the victory. Not an incredibly fast Milrose Wanamaker mile time, but certainly a strong performance. And then behind those two, also a couple of national records. One for Klaudia Kazimierska of Poland. So we get a Polish record now in 4:21. And then Wilma Nielsen of Sweden, who is currently running for Oregon. She's collegian. She ran 4:23.
That's fun.
Yeah, very strong performances. All right, last up is the men's Wanamaker mile. And this is where you get like the kind of the stories, right? All these different narratives. Yared Nuguse, 3-time in a row champion of the Wanamaker mile. No one's ever done that. He's going to defend his 4th title. But what other potential is there? Is Yared Nuguse on the top of his game right now? He didn't look it at the end of outdoor season, not even making the U.S. team in the World Championships. But maybe that lights a fire under, right? Who knows? Well, he's going for the 4-peat, but he didn't have it this time. And he actually almost did. And so this is where it's like, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to clutch it out in the when the pressure's on. Yared Nuguse shows up. With 100 meters to go, I thought he had it. And yet, the X factor, once again, as we've been talking about so many unknowns here, the X factor showed up. It was the teenage sensation, Cam Myers of Australia. Why are we talking about so many teenagers right now? Because they're just doing amazing things. Cam Myers of Australia. Remember last year at the Milrose Mile when Yared Nuguse ran a new world record?
Yeah.
And then, Ingebrigtsen broke it a week later. But when Nuguse ran a new world record, Cam Myers was 3rd in that race in an Australian record. And so we know he's got it. In fact, he wins the Wanamaker Mile this year and doesn't even run a personal best.
Wow.
That's how crazy it is. Teenage runner running 3:47.57, and it's not even a personal best. So that means something, doesn't it? Well, Cam Myers takes a Wanamaker mile. I think it now essentially counts as his most impressive victory to date in his career, and he's only 19, I think, right now, which is just exceptional. What's also fascinating, though, is that he's not even the youngest person to win the Wanamaker Mile. And this is why I said we talk about the history of the event.
Okay.
This event's been going on a long time.
Ingebrigtsen got it?
The youngest runner to win the Wanamaker Mile has to go all the way back to 1969.
Okay, that's a while.
I know. But who was it? Marty LaCory.
Oh, okay.
That's a name you should remember, should recognize. Marty LaCory, the legendary American. He was American, right? I keep forgetting where he's from because he was coached by Lydiard and Barry McGee at different times and some others. And so Marty LaCory was one of those kind of early stars, early studs with the Lydiard crew.
Nice.
And a very exciting career. As a teenager, he was one of the best runners of all time. And you can see it here.
Well, Yared Nuguse was 2nd.
He was.
Yep. And then 3rd for Kessler.
Yeah, Hobbs Kessler showed up again, but just didn't quite have it. We find out why at the end, because he was nursing a calf injury, possibly because of that 2,000-meter world record that he had just set. And so he said this race aggravated it further. Oh, so now he's out.
Oh,
he's not gonna race anymore this season. He's got a
bummer for him. Yeah. But you know what? If you're gonna get injured, doing it while you're running a world record is probably the most legit reason.
Right. That's good. But back the first person to run a personal best in the race was Nico Young.
Oh.
And this is quite exceptional. Nico Young holds the U.S. record in the 5,000 meters, outdoor track, and is an exceptional 10,000 meter runner, under 27 minutes. Now he shows up and he runs a 3:48 mile, which is world number 9 all time indoors. And it's just like, this guy is a threat.
Yeah.
He is on the scene, and he can do just about anything. And that's frightening for the likes of Grant Fisher. So let's talk a little bit more then about what else happened at Milrose. And we mentioned Roisin Willis.
Yep.
Running that U.S. record. She also ran in Milrose in the 600 meters, ran U.S. number 7, but she won the race. So she's just,
It's exciting.
doing some great things. Cooper Lutkenhouse, another teenage sensation. Remember last year when he ran 142 as a 16-year-old?
Yeah, I do remember
as
that.
a 16-year-old. Well, he just smashed his second pro race of his career by running a world under 20 record in the 600 meters. Ran 114 and change. I say as a pro career, remember, he's a junior in high school. And this isn't an NIL deal. He is a signed professional running for Nike. And there's been a lot of talk that he should not qualify anymore for high school records because he's a professional runner. And I think that doesn't matter. He's still a high schooler. Yeah. Who cares if he's got a Nike deal?
Well, then you'd have to take all the NIL kids
That's
out
what
of the records
Lutkenhouse
too.
said.
Like, what is
Yes.
what is the difference here? I really don't know. Like, they muddied those waters so badly. Yeah. Now I don't feel like they can deny Lutkenhouse because, yeah, all these kids are getting money.
Exactly.
Aren't they professional with money in their
Apparently
pockets?
they asked him about it, and that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you've got people taking money in other respects. Why does it matter if I'm in a different kind of contract?
I remember when I couldn't take a $20 gift card when I would win.
Know.
They're like, you can't have that. I'm like, and then sometimes they'd value like items, for instance, like, sweatshirts or shoes, and they're like, the value is too much, and I couldn't win them.
Yeah.
And those are tiny compared to like NIL deals that these kids get.
So I got a pair of shoes from a race once, winning. I don't know exactly how it was, but I won something, got a pair of shoes. And I was talking with someone like 30 minutes later, and they're like, you can't accept those. And I had to go back, bring the shoes back to the race people and say, I'm sorry, I am an amateur runner. I can't accept these. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, because they're worth too much. And so they didn't even know at the race, but also I was like, this is terrible. I have to give back these shoes. And they're like, well, who do we give them to? Because everyone's already leaving, right? Like, everyone's gone. And I was like, doesn't matter to me. I just can't accept them. So just keep them, I guess. Oh, it was funny.
It's very sad.
Yeah. So that was exciting. Cooper Lutkenhouse running fast is really good. But also Colin Salmon, running for NAU, ran a new NCAA record in the 800 meters. This is 144.70. So we talk about Josh Hoey's world record, 142 and change. The NCAA record is more than 2 seconds slower than that. It's crazy, isn't it? So Salmon, this record was the longest standing NCAA record, at least on the men's side, to date. And finally, somebody broke it. Salmon himself. It was a 1989 record. Yeah. At the time, it was the world record.
36-year-old record?
Yep. So here we go. It was really great. This kid's got range, by the way. He's fast in the 3,000 meters, like 7:36 or so is his personal best. And he finished 16th at NCAA cross country this year. Like, Colin Salmon. Yeah. What's he going to actually do when he specializes? Because that's what pros have to do ultimately. What's he going to actually do? I don't know.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up with just a couple of highlights. So we teased some time ago an update from Grant Fisher.
I was mad at you for that.
And then I never came back to it. I never told anyone what the actual update was. And so that was my mistake, I guess. But it's actually really interesting. Grant Fisher was interviewed just a few weeks ago and he made a comment, and it was a big deal. So here it is. He said directly, this is his words directly, that he'll be running a marathon by 2028. Specifically implying he's running the marathon for the 2028 Olympics.
That would be amazing.
Maybe. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah. I would imagine that he would run a pretty good marathon.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. But Grant Fisher coming on to the marathon. So the idea here is he wants to run the marathon before he's out of his prime. A lot of these track stars wait to run the marathon until they're like 35, 36. He's not that old, and he won't be for 2028. So,
but he's giving it like a lot of cred or respect because he wants to do it for an Olympic year. Right? Like, to have that desire and pursuit is, I think, pretty big.
Yeah.
Because then he's like saying, I want to do that because I've done these other things and I want to achieve this.
Well, he's following the Galen Rupp route right now. If you kind of see the trajectory a bit, it's interesting because Rupp medaled in the 10,000 meters, recall, at the Olympics. And then the next Olympic cycle after that, he moved up to the marathon and then medaled in the marathon at the Olympics. And what happened in the most recent Olympics? Grant Fisher medaled, double medal in the 5,000, 10,000. And now he's saying the next Olympic Games, he might be running in the marathon. I think that's kind of fun. It's kind of cool.
Well, we'll be at the trials. Zach will be running, so we won't be able to watch Grant, but
you'll be able to watch him.
I'll be able to watch.
You don't need to watch me. I mean, let's be honest.
I'm going to watch you.
Which race would you rather? You're in person at the Olympic trials. No. You're in person at the Olympic trials. How often do you get to watch the likes of Connor Mantz, Grant Fisher, Paul Chelimo might be there for a last hurrah? Like, you don't get to watch those people in person ever.
Yeah.
That's the race you need to watch.
I definitely am there to watch you. Yep.
Zach.
That's the most exciting to me. All right. Well, we'll.
Hey, remember when Jacob Kiplimo set a world record in the half marathon running 56:42?
Yes.
It's not a world record.
I did read that.
Yep. World Athletics has denied or declined to ratify the record. And they gave some weird excuse about, like, he was running too close to the pace car or the lead car.
That's not his call. That's the pace car's.
Yeah. And then something about how he received advice from his coach during the race, which you're not allowed to do. Like, your coach can't aid you in the race. And I'm like, so what?
So yelling?
Like, his coach
when
just
people
yelled
are
at him?
saying
Because everyone does that. So
suggestions? Like,
no one's really, like, sure. So there was talk after the race of, like, he was pretty close to that lead car. And that might backfire for him. But what's he gonna do?
No, he's gonna run as fast as he can. So that lead car needs to be the one to separate.
They need to speed up.
They're the ones in control of the distance between him and the pace car. He's running as fast as he possibly can.
At the end of the day,
he shouldn't have to slow down for it.
It doesn't matter because he didn't get the record. So it's an official time still. It's not like a doping violation.
Right.
They don't strip you of the result. He still gets the result. He gets the time, but he does not get an official world record anymore.
What's wild about that is that he was so well under the record that even with a possible aid of being in the windstream of the vehicle, he definitely would have still gotten the record.
It's 48 seconds under.
That's a huge amount of time.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Yamif Kejelcha still now officially holds the world record at 57:30.
How excited is he? You bet.
I don't know that he cares. Honestly.
I bet he does.
I don't know.
Yes, he's extremely competitive.
I mean, he already got the bonus, the payout for the record and everything, and
he wants to be the reigning world champion. World record holder.
He is that now. And Yamif Kejelcha is running his marathon debut. When is that? He's doing that very soon.
Oh, wow, that's exciting.
One of the spring marathons, Tokyo, Boston, or London. I can't remember.
Well, that'll be
interesting. Very much so. That's going to be fun. Okay, Cooper Lutkenhouse, by the way. We already mentioned this. Yeah. Oh, I talked about it ahead of time. Okay, well, that's great. We did everything we set out to do. There's just so many things going on, and we love it. Winter Olympics, which has nothing to do with running, although they've talked about trying to add cross-country to the Winter Olympics, and everyone's like, that's a joke.
I think that it would be very valid because what we saw at the World Championship, those runners can run through anything. It doesn't matter if it's a hay bale or a pile of snow. They would be able to really, really show us a great race, I think. I think the challenges could be really interesting.
It might negatively affect the results at large for the Africans.
Oh.
They have statistically evaluated races that are cross-country races that are particularly cold, like especially cold, like snowy, that on the whole, Africans don't dominate as much as they do in normal circumstances. So that you don't want to bias against a whole
group of great runners.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the geography, a whole geographical strip of the world.
Right.
Like anyone who's from these areas is probably gonna have a harder time.
But there's also really hot world championships and the people who live in colder climates.
Yeah, it's true.
There's
it's true.
But I do think that it could be a consideration just because I think the dynamics Might be
it would
interesting.
cool.
It'd be fun to watch.
And let's be honest, in the Winter Olympics, wherever they're being held, they're rarely ever places that are like severely cold. Like they have to make snow for all of the events, and you can go somewhere not far away, like 2-hour drive, and it's even warmer most of the time. So like, yeah, I mean, they're in Italy this year. I guarantee that a cross country race in the Mediterranean area this time of year is not like what we're experiencing right now in Michigan, at least. So I don't know.
Well, it's in Milan. That's where the Winter Olympics is. Yeah.
Italy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is good stuff. We are excited to be able to watch and see more stuff and share it all with you. And that's what we're going to do next time we're back together. But that's it.
We'll talk to you next time.